that is very timely. I'm so glad to hear that all of the Democrat gubernatorial candidates are going to participate. You know, there's one candidate that has a very interesting story, Sri Thanadar. You know, he's a very successful businessman. He's running these commercials. He's got obviously deep pockets, but he suffered a business loss. He talks about how he lost his home to foreclosure. He got back on his feet again. He bought a business and became very successful. And he's a scientist.
Yeah, his campaign told me they're very eager to participate in this
Okay,
town hall.
good.
But I want to switch to Black History.
Okay.
In fact, the title on Facebook is Black History Month once a year a disservice for us. Why aren't we doing this 365 days a year? Why do we wait for the next February to celebrate
Yeah.
Black
And who
History?
picked February, by the way, the shortest month of the
we
year?
need to
You
put some
know?
research in there.
Yeah.
I don't know who declared that.
That's always been a criticism. And, you know, it's also been very controversial. You know, there have been actors like Morgan Freeman, who's played the President of the United States
He's
in
played
many a movie.
Mandela and all of
He's
that.
played Mandela,
And
who
Invictus.
said, I don't celebrate Black History Month. You know, that's an insult. You know, I celebrate Black History Month 365 days a year. There is
Right.
no Black History Month. And,
Right.
you know, there's something to that argument, you know.
No question. Let's go to the phone lines here. Let's see who we have. Let's go to Rick. Rick has a question or comment.
Hey, good afternoon, and let me add, I do have a comment and a suggestion. My suggestion, because I'm one of the people in that group who have suffered the economic inequality, I want you guys, if at all possible, to consider having a citizen input and claim handler for the claims that we would make at your meeting, so that we would have all of those claims organized, or at least somebody would have access to them to make them available. I think that would be good in order to match by our specific experiences and our points of cooperative engagement. And I'm willing to come and talk about my problem and make my personal experience known and claim, but that doesn't mean that I'm willing to support a candidate just because they show up and listen. And so I want to make sure that I think in going forward that all I do and other people like me who are at such a disadvantage, that we at the very least get our ducks in a row, that our data, our claims are respected enough to be on a record where we don't have to have them interpreted by another person, but they can stand for themselves. And I think that that'll be good. And I think another part of that going forward, too, is that with all of the issues that relate to us, whether it is like, the foreclosure angle, the moratorium on the watershed offs and evictions, we need those actual claims, because what's missing when this stuff comes up is our claims getting there in a timely way so that they can be confronted. There's no reason a candidate should not already have our information already. That's why I made 3.com. It's important.
Rick, let me ask you this. Were you at the last Poverty Town Hall?
I came to the last one. I had to leave quickly. I noticed the same thing there. I saw a lot of people, a lot of mixed race people, and I don't know where the claims are that they made there. I know just putting things on the record, it's unorganized. You can't go back and say, okay, well, this person there said they had a problem because they live in a place that's not wheelchair accessible, or they're not getting funding to support a particular issue. So it became kind of useless. And I want to make sure that all that...
Let me say this. Maybe that's for the candidates to do, though, right?
Whoever does it, I just want somebody responsible. I don't want each candidate to put their own person there and then at the end say, oh, I didn't hear this, but I heard what my person picked up. I want one person and a set of policies to handle that we all know we're going to get fair and equal treatment when we give our claims, spend our time coming to meetings, at least let it all pile up and engage us.
Thank you so much, Rick. Let's go to Steve. Steve has a question or comment, either on Black History once a year or on the town hall coming up February 19th. Hi, is Steve there? We can't hear.
Sounds like feedback or something.
Rachel, Marcel, we can't hear. Everything okay there? Okay, let's go to Terrence. Terrence has a question or comment.
Rankle, how you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Rankle, I like the fact that you you put these topics out. And I just want to say, keep doing what you're doing, man. You're not afraid to speak the truth. And that's what I like about your show. You bring the facts and you speak the truth. Like, basically, what I want to say is, people are steady talking about black this, black that.
Right.
Until African Americans as a whole realize where they at, where they have been, and where they're going.
Right.
I think it's important to note that the shackles are going to continue to be at your ankles. These people are not going to give you anything. There are enough resources in the black community as a whole to sustain families for generations. But individuals have got to be willing to take back their neighborhoods. They've got to be willing to fight this crime, and they've got to be willing to secure areas when economic investment comes in. And therefore, you create an environment, Bankole, where businesses are more conducive to bring the resources into the neighborhoods, which will give jobs to people to have sustainable income to maintain a family. Do you agree or do you not, Bankole?
Well, you make a very provocative, a very interesting point. I can meet you on the road on this. I don't agree wholeheartedly, but I'll meet you in the middle. I'll meet you in the middle of the road on this in terms of personal responsibility. But there's a caveat to that, though, and the caveat to personal responsibility. I'll offer you Lyndon Johnson's speech, a commencement address he gave at Howard University. It was in the 1960s. I don't remember the exact year, but if you go on YouTube, type Lyndon Johnson commencement at Howard University. In that commencement speech, Lyndon Johnson said this, that you cannot take a man who is in shackles, the same shackles you talk about, and walk him to the middle of the road and take those shackles off and tell him go fend for yourself. He said you got to be able to help him start. You got to be able to help that man start somewhere with some sort of opportunity that he can take and run with. Just like the Chinese would say, teach a man how to catch fish, and of course, things can multiply. So on the question of personal responsibility, I agree, but only to a certain level, because there's a caveat to that.
Okay. Now, Bankole, now the lady that's sitting next to you, she was from a museum or something, right?
No, Tracy is a very known activist in this town. She's a practicing attorney, one of the most brilliant voices you can hear on this program. So,
okay. Now, weren't you talking about some event coming up at the Afro-American Museum or something? Weren't you talking about that?
Yes.
February 18th.
No, February 4th. 4th of February, Naeem Akbar is speaking at the African American Museum.
Okay, but then we also have African Pride Sunday.
Oh, African Pride Sunday at Detroit Unity Temple.
Right, that's going to be at Detroit Unity Temple.
Yeah.
And you're right. February 4th, that is going to be at the museum.
Go ahead.
Right. So, Bankole, I'm going to get off your line after I say this.
Sure.
I understand what you're saying in response to my question.
Right.
But Bankole, this has been going on for years and years and years. And so African Americans are feeling responsibility because they're not going to give you anything, Bankole.
Right.
Look at all this crime and the way these neighborhoods look in the city. Poverty is rampant in all of these inner cities. They don't care. So you got to step outside the box and do it for yourself. I'm going to listen.
No, I totally look. I agree with the village concept. Thank you so much. Was that Terrence, right?
That was Terrence.
Terrence,
I
yeah.
understand what he's saying. I mean, this goes to what we were talking about earlier about knowing your history. Okay, it's important. He also talked about the case basically for reparations.
Right.
The 40 acres and a mule, Black America never got, quite frankly. Okay, and that is one of the many things that Representative John Conyers Jr. did in Congress. He introduced that bill. You know the number,
HR 40.
Excuse me, HR 40, which was to study a bill about studying reparations. Just a study, just a study, not to implement reparations. It never passed.
I wonder if it had any Democratic support at the judiciary panel.
Evidently, not enough.
No,
Yes.
no. But I think to Turnan's point, look, I do not disagree on the question of personal responsibility. I think people have to take care of themselves. People have to step up to the plate. I don't believe in this. I don't believe in a viewpoint that encourages some sort of a lackadaisical attitude about life.
But what about the level playing field?
Right.
I get what you're saying. And this goes into the argument of affirmative action, okay?
Right.
Which, incidentally, white females greatly benefited, I think, more than anybody, from the byproducts of affirmative action.
Yeah, affirmative action came out of Lyndon Johnson's executive order.
Mm-hmm.
And white women have benefited greatly from that.
Yes.
And when you look at even the welfare, this myth about the welfare queen and the Cadillacs and the way that played out in the 90s, eventually becoming legislation in '94 with Bill Clinton and all of that. Remember the Arkansas woman, all of that stuff.
Yeah, that happened on Bill Clinton's watch.
Bill Clinton's watch.
Reform, which implemented these caps.
You have more white women on welfare than black women.
Yes, you do.
And
more white people.
So I think some of these things are a myth, and I think people play it because stereotypes do work, and the kind of image you present to people sometimes do affect how they think about a certain people, how they think about a group of people, and how they play. It all plays in politics. We saw it in the 2016 campaign. Black communities are the worst. Your roads, your communities are going to hell in a handbasket. People are getting shot on the road.
Yeah, what did Trump say? What have you got to lose?
Yeah, I think
what's very insulting.
I didn't get shot walking into Cobo Hall this and we've been here all week. We didn't get shot here. And I don't think I'm going to get shot walking out of Cobo Hall here. But I think that's all part of the myth that is created about black life.
And unfortunately, the media has a hand in that.
Well, yeah, the media has a hand in it. But I think at the very core, to Terence's point, though, I think there is a responsibility here for people to take back their community, take back their village.
And this is the start. What's happening now?
Joanja Kunjufu, who wrote, foremost writer on the well-being of black boys in America. Joanja Kunjufu, the Chicago scholar, has been writing about this for a long time in this nation, about the conditions of black boys. And he said, not exact, but I'm trying to paraphrase what he said. I was reading what he said one time, that we are the only culture where you can basically walk down the street, and we're afraid of a 15-year-old walking side by side with us because he may shoot us. You know what I mean?
And he may not shoot us.
Yes. But more than likely he will shoot. That's the painful state to be in. And this is coming from Kunjufu, who has written about the conditions of black boys, about how the educational system undermines black boys. So I think there's a responsibility factor here. When black boys are arraigned, through the criminal justice system, when you look at those pictures that are splashed on the television screen, what is the response?
And it had a direct impact.
Do you blame a 15-year-old for making an egregious mistake?
No, that's not
what does a 15-year-old can do? Their life has not even fully formed.
Their
mind has not fully formed.
Right.
Do you blame them? Or do you